Hi everybody, Phil from Phil's Projects. It's been a little while since my last video. Today's July 24th. I'm announcing the launch of a project for the Graziano. Using some of the leftover pieces we cut out of the old bed. If you haven't seen Pierre's Garage's video on us cutting this thing apart, go see it. It was an awful lot of sparks and quite a bit of fun. Anyways, we had a great day taking this thing apart. So we're going to be using part of the bed to make a taper attachment for the Graziano. Well, at least that's the intent. I haven't designed anything as of yet, so I guess this series is going to be about well, the entire process, the designing, the fabrication, and then well, hopefully the final results of being able to do the tapers I want. So I guess we'll, you know what, we'll take you around to the Graziano and we'll kind of show you what the intent is on this, and then we'll have a look at the parts that I kept from the old bed, and well, maybe we'll do a bit of cleaning up on those parts on the mill today. So without further babbling, here we go. Welcome to the messy Graziano. Okay, so we want to make a taper attachment for this. The cross slide is not designed or is not made to have a taper attachment. In other words, it can't move independently from the screw. We did a bit of work on Pierre's the other day, and the way his is set up, the compound can move independent of the screw. I don't quite know how they did it, but anyways, it doesn't matter because we can't do it on this. So in order to get this to operate with the taper attachment, the intent is I'll be unbolting the nut from the cross slide, allowing it to slide back and forth without influence from the screw. The infeed for the work's going to be done with the compound. Okay, so that gives me a depth control, a certain amount of depth control as for the cuts, and the taper is going to be taken care of by the bed being attached in the back to a angled piece. Take you guys around. Okay, so back here, whoa, excuse me, I gotta brace myself. We're gonna have to build some brackets, okay, that will support the angled piece, or the angled way, if you from the old bed, and we're also gonna need a way to attach that to the top of the cross slide. Okay, so that can be pulled and follow along with the angle of the excuse me, piece in the back. Luckily, the Graziano bed already has provisions for some sort of attachment to be bolted up to the top of the cross slide. You can do a whole bunch of stuff, probably line boring if you want, depending on what you build. You can bolt it onto there and it'll work. So I won't have to do any damage or any huge modifications to the cross slide, which is really, really good. The adapter piece is going to be bolted onto this, hang off the back, and then guide along the way. So well, that's the intent anyways at this point in the game. Welcome to the messy garage. This is the leftover parts from the bed, from the Graziano. Okay, I have the back, the way that was in the back, as well as part of the carriage. I won't be using that whole length of carriage, it's just too huge for nothing, but I'll probably be taking a chunk out of the middle, and it's going to be, this is going to be the piece that we're going to use as a guide. A lot of work left to be done to it, just to clean it up. Once it's been cleaned up pretty well, we'll have to inspect it and see how straight it came out. I probably will not need the entire length of this, too long for nothing. Don't think I'll be machining any 2-3 foot spacers. Tapers. I already started cleaning up the shape on the back of the way. This cast iron is tough as hell. This was relatively new roughing end mill, and I think it lasted about 6 inches in this cast iron. So it dulled it to hell, and then, well, once it got dull, come on, focus. once it got dull, you can imagine the heat build up, and it just killed it. So another one for the junk pile. I did have success using a 3/4 inch carbide. You need to put quite a bit of cutting pressure, lower speeds. It's the only way. You don't want your chips to come out as dust. You want them to really come out as chips, so it's you got to push pretty hard. What we're gonna do now is I'll set this up in the mill, and we'll kind of clean off all that stuff. Okay, there's quite a bit of thickness. It's probably up to about 1.25 inches of cast iron. It's got to be removed there. And oh, this little doodad here was the end mill being pulled down from the collet. Unfortunately, my carbide cutter does not have a slot in it for putting it into a Weldon type tool holder. So it's something you got to keep an eye on. I mean, this is really not critical. I still have easily 150, 200 thou to take off at that point. So the intent's to bring everything down to this thickness here, and we'll clean up this edge after. And but once I got this thing close to clean, we'll be able to we'll be able to set this up and inspect it and see what kind of warpage I have, if any. We'll probably go down say about 1/2 inch or so, and it's gonna yeah, let's hope we don't break anything. Slow it down. That'll be a 345. Doing pretty good. We're getting chips off of it. Switch to a end mill holder, ground a little flat with a diamond wheel on the carbide cutter. It was being sucked down all the time, and well, the R rate just couldn't hold it tight enough for that kind of force. It seems to be going well. This is what I was aiming for, is pushing the feed hard enough to get chips out of it and minimal amount of dust. It's a little bit hard. Hold on. It's a little bit hard when you're starting off and you're getting some chatter. It's a kind of counterintuitive to sit there and push it harder. You think it's complaining, but it's complaining because it doesn't have enough to eat. After destroying one high-speed steel end mill and one shell mill, I switched to carbide. I did install it in a proper end mill holder. It's the only way I could keep the end mill from getting pulled down with the big heavy cuts. So if you're planning on doing some heavy stuff, beware. One, it can and most likely will get pulled down by the helix, and way to stop that is a proper end mill holder with a shoulder for the bolt to sit on. So that'll be it for today. I'm going to continue cleaning this up, and I got to start working on some sort of conceptual design for this. We'll probably talk about that next time. Thanks for stopping by, thanks for subscribing, and well, keep up to date. This will take a while to do, but it'll be fine. So see you next time.